Basically, what we released is a set of features to enable and enhance self-consumption. The first being that all of our inverters can now interface with consumption meters, read them, and you basically as a system owner and as a, let's say, a factory owner or a home owner, you actually see your self-consumption rate and you can better behave in terms of your consumption. We add to that a new feature that we are showing here, which is called feed-in limitation. Okay. This is a feature that was initially developed for the German market in order to comply with the feed-in limit rule. But what we found is that in many markets in the world, in UK, in Netherlands, in Australia, all across Europe, and even in United States in some places, PV systems are being denied because of grid conditions. In places where there is high PV concentration, you sometimes cannot install a PV system because the utility company is afraid of too much feed-in. With this device, you can actually reassure and show the utility company that even if you have a big PV system, with this product you can guarantee to the utility that you will not feed. In the case that consumption goes down, the feed-in limitation feature will also reduce the production to meet that consumption. So usually you generate a lot of power and self-consume it, but in the rare cases that you're not, we will protect the grid by throttling down the inverter production also. What we are showing here is our new storage units. Storage is basically a battery pack from SolarEdge that comes built in with the electronics and battery inside. Every pack is 2.5 kilowatt hours of storage. You can put them in parallel to get more storage if you need. Sure. And storage together with feed-in limitation actually increases your level of self-consumption by storing unnecessary PV energy and then using it either at night or at times where the PV is not enough. What we have inside this, which is I think very unique, is that every one of these battery packs actually have smaller batteries inside, and each one of these batteries is managed by a power optimizer. Same like our power optimizers for modules, we have power optimizers for batteries now. And you get a product that you can actually plug in parallel to the PV system. You do not need special cabling, you do not need 100 amps cabling. You use PV cables connected in parallel to the PV system. Very easy installation, extended battery life, and extended management of batteries. We start to see demand for storage system in some places in Australia and in the US. Unlike Germany, in order to really provide a storage system in these countries, you also need a certain level of off-grid support. Mainly because this is what customers are willing to pay more if they get some kind of energy backup in case there is an outage. In the European markets, off-grid is not that highlighted as a feature because the grid has very, very high availability numbers. So it's more of an economical self-consumption motivation. In other countries, people want also the ability to off-grid at some times when the grid is not available. The main challenge with storage solutions is finding the right battery vendors that you can work with and finding the right architecture. Because we have power optimizers in our inverter systems, we wanted to find an architecture that sits well with our power optimizers. And what we found is that because we have power optimizers and we have our fixed string voltage solution, if we do the same with batteries, we actually give the installer a huge advantage. The installation of this is very easy. You just plug it parallel to the PV. Don't need special knowledge. Any PV installer can do it with pretty much minimal training. And that is actually something that, because we had optimizers, we could also do in our battery. That is maybe the twist that we brought in making this product available. The only thing preventing batteries to be available in every system is their cost. And as this will decrease, it will be a standard part of every PV system. Okay. And it is actually very good for the industry because new technologies need to come in, new value that inverter companies and system providers can offer to their customers. In a market that have seen a lot of commoditization in the last years, this is good news for many of the players, and I think it's economically, eventually, it will be good for the industry and for the system owners.